Diablo 2 Resurrected is finally out, and I know there are many of you who will be considering on the Nintendo Switch and will want to know about performance. Now, I'm not going to get into any of the controversies. All I'll say is I hope the people responsible are punished, but that those that have spent countless hours of their lives creating these games and who are entirely innocent don't end up massively suffering because of their stupid mistakes. With that said, let's look at Diablo 2 Resurrected on Switch. We'll look at the two different quality modes, some of the new improvements to the visuals, the 3D models, how it runs on the Nintendo Switch version, the cost, the download size, whether I recommend the game, and we'll also cover the online aspects, as well as anything you'll need to do to set up the game before you actually load up. So, how is Diablo 2 Resurrected on Nintendo Switch? Well, let's find out. If you weren't aware, Diablo had a global release at 4 PM GMT on Thursday the 23rd of September. The Nintendo Switch version came in a couple of different flavours, and I know you don't need me to tell you that it originally released back in 2000, but that this remaster focuses on completely overhauling the visual engine while keeping everything that made the original great. The first thing you're going to want to do if you get into the game is just play around with switching between the two different modes. You're not really told how to do this, but it's simple enough by holding down LZ and then pressing minus on the controller. As soon as you do this, it's starkly obvious how much they've improved the game. Honestly, as I was playing through initially, I didn't think there were any changes until I finally discovered how to change back. And my goodness, is there a difference. Those original sprites have been completely replaced with 3D models, and there are a number of different environmental effects, including dynamic lighting. The structures have been faithfully recreated, but the world just looks much more detailed and smooth. Now, the Switch version is what we're talking about, and initially when you boot up the game, you'll be greeted with a Battle.net login. You will need to either have an existing account or have one ready to go or set one up, and you'll want to navigate to the section on their website that allows you to tie the account to a Nintendo one. It was a little bit annoying if you want to just jump in and get on with it, but it didn't take too long. Now, the servers are absolutely getting crushed at the minute because the entire world is trying to log on at the same time. You can create an online or offline character, but if you want to save the character into the cloud via Blizzard servers, then you're obviously going to want to go for the online character. The issue at the moment with that is it's really hit and miss, and I was constantly getting kicked out of the online experience. So to avoid frustration, I just created an offline one. You can still play online, ironically, but you won't be able to continue your progress on other systems. The game does support full crossplay across everything, and it's all kept very much behind the scenes and out of the way. Now, as far as control options go, they've included many different toggles. You can tweak sensitivities, you can change which analog sticks do what, and while there's no direct zoom function, you can change the resolution. So if you have it at 640 by 480, if you remember back in the day, then when you're playing in that legacy mode, it'll be more zoomed in. It is a shame they didn't add full zoom functionality to the new 3D rendering, although there is a chance I've just missed it. If so, pop it down in the comments. The 3D redesigns of the existing characters are okay. I think the Switch version, they don't look particularly great on the home menu. They're a touch blurry, but certainly when compared to those originals, it is a stark improvement. As far as matchmaking goes, you can invite friends quite easily using the Nintendo Switch system if they own the game, or you can allow for the Blizzard servers to try and match you up on its own. It seems straightforward enough, and I did manage to get into one game. However, the other person left instantly, and since then I haven't been able to team up with anyone. I'm sure within a day or so this will settle down a bit. As you know, the Nintendo Switch crashes more than pretty much any other system I've ever played, and Diablo doesn't avoid that. I've had one crash to desktop, but it wasn't actually when I was in game, it was when I was trying to get into the servers. As far as performance goes, things are looking nice. I must admit, the way they released the game, I was expecting for some real issues, but everything is running silky smooth, and the load transitions are remarkably quick. The same goes for handheld as well, and the performance is backed up by excellent sound. There's a definite difference between the new and the old sounds, but they've kept the same score. If anything, the older version sounds a little bit louder than the new. And then we've got a host of options which will help your accessibility. There's a dedicated colorblind toggle. You can use a slider to adjust this to suit, well, your level of colorblindness if that's you. And also, praise the sun, there are multiple different text size options, as well as a unique extra large text size button if you need it. And it's one of the first things I changed, and I really appreciate seeing that in there. I know on other platforms it supports 7.1 surround sound. I don't know how that applies to the Switch version, but overall I'm very impressed. Blizzard have fixed one of my biggest bugbears from when I was a kid, and that's by adding a shared stash. This essentially lets you transfer items between your own characters, whereas originally it was a bit of a nightmare doing that, and they've added automatic gold pickup. It's clearer to display everything that's on the floor, and there are a few different reminders about using your skill points, etc. Despite all of these visual and quality of life updates, it certainly does feel a little dated by today's standards, but it retains that addictive core, and even in the 3 or 4 hours I've been playing, it's already well and truly got its hooks back into me. It's such an addictive game. What is it about the jingle of loot as you open a hidden chest, or picking up a weapon that's unidentified only to use a scroll and find out it's several shades better than the one you've currently got, that makes the experience so compelling? I don't know what it is, but it works on me, that's for sure. As far as remasters go, this is exactly how I like them done. I love how they do this, where they did it the same in Wonder Boy as well as Alex Kidd with that quick switching mechanic. It really pleases everyone in that regard. As far as price goes, it's going to set you back £34.99, or you can get the Prime Evil collection for $49.99. Of course, but they throw in Diablo 3 and I believe all of its DLCs, which seems like a reasonable enough deal. It's certainly going to net you a lot of content. So just to summarize then, you can play solo, you can do multiplayer online co-op, and there are also player versus player duels. With everything said and done, do I recommend it for you? Well, I actually think it's going to depend on the player themselves. If you're a fan of the original, then most certainly you're going to lap this up. It's delightful to play, and hopefully when they get those server issues fixed, it'll be fine. But if you are a bit more of a modern player, aka much younger than my ancient self, you might find it feels a touch clunky, dragging the inventory items around, although you can quickly equip them, and constantly running out of space only to hear the "I can't carry anymore" over and over, or the way you plow through enemies with single button presses. It might just feel a touch dated to you. To me, it feels awesome. And I am loving it, but there you go. It's very odd that there is not a physical release. I'm sure down the line there will be, and the game is going to take up around about 8.7 gigs of space on your Nintendo Switch. If you've got any other questions about it, please do pop them down in the comments and I'll do my darndest to answer. Are you excited for the Nintendo Direct? I know I am. You'll probably be getting a little bit more content from us in relation to that. I'm sure we'll see some shadow drops. With that said, a big thanks. We've had a couple of new patrons this month. That really helps us out. And do go and check out our online store, www.switchup.gg. If you're here in the UK, you can get 10% off any of your eShop cards or your online subscription, and then go and use those on sales or whatever you want. So yeah, nice one. All that's left to say is, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch Up. Cheers guys, see ya!